They don't like to quit suddenly, but you will not survive one day without hope. The way you disempower things that are sucking energy from you is you actually talk about them. Today, we're going to talk about quitting. That's the dirty word people don't talk about, but it is real. All right, welcome to Haven Real Talk. Today, we're going to talk about quitting. That's the dirty word people don't talk about, but it is real. Now, why quitting? Well, here's what I know. It's a real thing, and the challenge in life is when we don't talk about something that is a real thing, it still has power. The way you disempower things that are sucking energy from you is you actually talk about them. You don't breathe life into them in that sense, but you at least you acknowledge that it's there. Just remember this phrase: danger is real, but fear is a choice. Just like quitting, it's a reality, but whether or not you do it, that's a question. So let's talk about this today and why we quit. Here's what we know about humans. Humans are very, very interesting. So there was a study done. This guy put a few rats in water to swim. And I think they lasted for about maybe 2 hours, I believe. And this is like it's like a sick experiment, right? So he did it again. He put these rats in this water that were just swimming. And before the 2-hour mark that they normally drown in, he took one of them out, let them rest for a little bit. Maybe it was a day, whatever timeline it was. And then he put them back in. And I kid you not, they said that rat, the next time that they were made to swim, guess how long they lasted? Anyone know? If you know, pop it in the chat. But it was like 60 hours, y'all. Like something crazy, not a day, not like 12 hours. I'm talking like a ridiculous amount of hours. They did it again. It was the same. You know what the difference was, y'all? It's hope. Hope will keep you alive. You can survive for, I don't know, a few days or maybe a week without water. You could survive, I don't know, depending on how well you can hold your breath, maybe a few minutes without air, but you will not survive one day without hope, because we're no different. Humans are the same as rats. We will never continue a journey we don't think we can finish, especially a journey we don't think we have any control over. So it's all about control. Do we have any control? And once you feel you have control over your life, that's where confidence comes, and that's where hope lives. Maybe you don't have control, that you can't change the future, but maybe you have hope enough that something is coming that will change it for you. Without that hope, you got nothing, right? So let's talk about quitting in sense of when it comes to companies. I will tell you what normally happens. It's important that you recognize when you are quitting, because it is not you versus someone else. It's you versus you. I want you to think of yourself as a rat. You are a mammal just like everybody else. They may be small, but you have the same dynamics, if you will, as they do. If you don't recognize when you are dying, that you are becoming a zombie, then you will be the only one that dies, shocked that you died. Shocked that, oh, wow, I'm done with this thing. Here's what most people do. They don't like to quit suddenly, because that's not how humans work. Humans, and this may be you, they like to quit slowly. And you know what that looks like? They stop doing small little things that kept them alive. They stop doing it so much so, showing up on time, maybe making X amount of calls in our business, maybe doing it to the best of their ability, maybe tracking. They're slowly dying, because if they separate themselves slowly, By the time they stop doing it, they don't feel they've lost anything. That's why. Because a lot of people are more motivated by fear of loss than opportunity for gain. The people that are motivated by opportunity for gain are the 1%ers normally. Maybe the 10% of the people of the world, the instigators, they want to get something. But a lot of us, we're just afraid. Like, we're playing not to lose. And that's what most humans do. And it isn't just because they're bad people. That's just natural. Apathy is a natural, it's what you live in. It's a natural human instinct that's common to us all that tells our mind and forces us to seek a comfort zone where nothing changes. Meaning your mind is engineered to keep you safe. That's what your mind is engineered to do. It's not engineered for you to grow. Because in order to grow, you got to go and face the whirlwind. You got to grow and do things that make you change. And change is uncertain. Change means death. That's to the mind, unless you re-engineer the mind to mean something else. So you got to recognize you're quitting. So look at yourself and say to yourself, what does a person who's not quitting look like? And what am I doing? Not a person. What would the super me, what would the me who was doing XYZ be doing if they weren't? And as soon as you stop doing those things, like it or not, you're quitting. No, I'm not quitting. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. And then you stop coming slowly. You stop doing this slowly. You stop showing up slowly. And then by the time the week is done, the month is done, or whatever else, you just don't, you're like, it doesn't even matter if I go. It doesn't matter if I do. It doesn't even matter if I make. And you don't feel so bad about yourself, because the number one thing you cannot stand in the mirror is looking at yourself and feeling bad about you. So you will do anything you can to make sure you feel good about you. That's the difference of staying in a level and living in a bubble of discomfort. If you make discomfort your normal, you have just re-engineered your mind to become a winner. But when you make your normal being comfortable, you're asking for trouble. And that's why I'm talking Michael Jordan, LeBron. You talk to athletes who have reached some pinnacles. You talk to business owners. You ever heard or read books where they talk about how they've kind of plateaued, where they've kind of got stuck? They don't feel like they were going anywhere. They got comfortable with comfort. And you're like, man, I wish I had their comfort. Yeah, me too. But it's the same no matter what. It's just a quantum leap. They're just dying at a different level. So what do? They go to a coach to help them get reactivated, to flip that switch, get them uncomfortable again. Because I'm telling you, there is no life in comfort. The only life that is worth living is in discomfort, because you were meant to grow. That's how it works. If you were meant for comfort, you would just sit on the couch all day and feel good about yourself. You would. Though naturally most people, they don't feel good about themselves, because if you were meant to sit and do nothing, we would sit on the couch and eat whatever we want to eat, and we wouldn't gain weight. But you know what happens when you decide to sit on the couch and do nothing, figuratively speaking? You gain weight, you lose muscle, your mind stops becoming as active, and that does not allow you to help people. Someone needs help. Oh, I can't do it. You want to go help them, but you're out of breath. So all I'm telling you is, the universe didn't design you to be comfortable, or rather, naturally you're designed to be comfortable, but that's not how success is designed. So I want to address first, recognizing when you're quitting. Quitting is a real thing. There is a time to quit, time not to quit. Now, the word quit sounds weird, even saying it, but I want to make sure that we're clear. There is a difference between quitting and regrouping. Quitting is when you completely stop. Regrouping, you're engaged. It's like taking a timeout in a basketball game, halftime in a soccer game, or football game. You regroup, right? It's okay for you not to be engaged. Here's what I know. Back in the day, it was okay. Like in the Japanese culture, if you lose a battle, if you were not a shogun, but a samurai, if you lost a battle and you didn't commit, I forgot what they call it, seppuku, you didn't kill yourself, you had no honor, none. Like, you should not survive if you lost a battle. Nobody got time for that. That's one way to think about it. But here's another method. As time went on, here's what people realized. Why would a smart general kill themselves? Like, it's better to retreat and fight another day than to go down with the ship. Agreed? Like, reason started to make more sense. That general's mind is like brilliant. So when it comes to moving forward, it's okay to retreat. I retreat all the time. The more you retreat, the better you are. Now your retreats, here's how you scale your retreats. Again, I'm talking about quitting. When is it okay to stop? There's a difference between quitting and being done and regrouping. I literally say, I'm done with the day. Let's regroup. The plan, do, review. Some people do those weekly. Some do it monthly. Some do it semi-annually. Some do it every 6 months. The winners do it daily. They regroup daily. They do an assessment of the day every day. Here's what that looks like. What did I do that was good? That was effective? What choices did I make that were effective? What choices did I make that were ineffective? And how can I do something now or tomorrow to make up the difference? They literally retreat. So you stop engaging in the work you were doing, look at what led to the results. That wasn't good. And then you fix it and you come back stronger. Or is it better to be limping? Or if you're in a Gran Turismo or you're doing NASCAR, you have a wobbly wheel. Just keep going all those tracks with a wobbly wheel? Is that what you do? No, you're going to ruin your car. How about you go in the pit stop? Yeah, you stopped. I get it. All those cars are passing. I get it. But if you don't stop now and fix the problem, you will not finish the race. More so, you will damage the vehicle, so much so, even if you wanted to finish the race, you can't finish it. So you got to regroup. And how do you regroup? The only way you can regroup properly is by asking questions of yourself that literally dissect, like a scalpel, the questions you made to basically find out whether or not what you did was effective. So you got to look at the activity, and well, if you don't track your activity, then you got nothing to look at. So maybe you start off, well, what can I do to track it? You just start from the beginning. So again, retreating is different than simply quitting. And let's kind of address it at the end now. Why do people actually decide to quit? The truth is, if you knew what I didn't know, better yet, if you knew what I knew, you would not quit. If you knew certain statistics about yourself, you wouldn't quit. Statistics about success in general and life, you would not quit. You would realize that it's just a process. So here's what I mean by that. Statistics show, this is stats, and we're going to talk about network marketing, that people that have continued, this is stats. I mean, network marketing has been around for a long time, y'all. People that stay with a company, and pause for a second, most network marketers jump from company to company. As in the work, they jump from company to company. The stats show when someone does something, network marketing company, for 10 years, they're actually doing it. They're in the top 1% of their company. That's stats. That's guys, I've read the books, y'all. I'm telling you, that's stats. So if you knew that and you really sucked, but you just knew that, man, if I just keep going, I'll win. It's like one of those deals. I'm gonna give you a real example. If someone told you, hey, Ron, Vernon, Melissa, if you walk from Arizona to New York, you find a way to get there, you walk there, you can't take a ride, but you got to walk, you will get $1 billion. If someone told you that, would you do it?
Yeah, figure out a way real quick.
Would you care how fast you ran?
No, it'd get done eventually.
You get there eventually because guess what? You knew the stat. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't about you anymore. It was about the stats. You see what I'm saying? You see how the stats and knowing the numbers and knowing history, how that buoys you up as a human? Because when you think it's all based on you and your skill and like, I don't know. And here's another thing. Let's say you know the stat. But if you, with that same example, are not willing to make the walk, guess what that means? You just don't have a big enough desire. That $1 billion means nothing to you. That's what it comes down to. So if you don't have a why strong enough, the stat of you winning will not be sufficient to keep you going. Make sense?
Yep.
So The last thing about going forward and quitting is this. Many people will come and go in this business. People quit for multiple reasons. The biggest reason people quit, I will say, the biggest reason you might quit is because you do not educate your expectations. I'm about to say something that's going to upset some of you, and it's going to unearth something that I think might make some of you feel weird. I want you to ask yourself, in what scenario would I quit? Some of you saying, nah, so some of you are immediately rejecting the thought right now. Stop doing that. Embrace it, because if you don't acknowledge the reality, you will not be able to actually address it properly. What circumstance could exist that would, whether by choice or by default, by necessity, you are forced to stop? What scenario could occur? If you can't think beyond that, or you can't think and create that scenario in your mind, I'm telling you, listen, it's coming for you. Because last time I checked, the way that people are able to solve problems is because they have already occurred, so they know how to solve them. Or the way that you're able to prevent disasters is because you think ahead of what could happen, right? That's how you prevent a disaster. Do you want to be sidelined by a problem, or would you prefer to kind of think ahead and make sure that you don't get sidelined? Because the problems are coming. You do know that, right? You say you want to make more, and in life, you are rewarded financially according to the problems that you're able to solve. What scenario could occur that will force you to quit? I want you to let that sink in your, in your head, digest, chew it up a little bit, and then say to yourself, okay, what could I do to prevent that scenario from occurring? That's control. That's control. Because every scenario that you create in your mind that would force you to stop, you have the power to stop it right now. But what happens is people the biggest thing is they don't educate their expectations. And so, the number one thing that makes them quit is that thing, they lose hope. They lose hope. They weren't afraid of it being hard. The rats could swim. They knew they would have to swim a long time, but they just didn't know how long it would take until someone got them out. That thought, that's like, they can't handle it. I can't handle it. True story. When I'm doing plank in the morning, if I set my my alarm for 1 minute, somehow 2 minutes, 3 minutes, I can do that. But when I set my alarm for go as much as you can, even doing it for 1 minute is hard. Isn't that crazy? Because of the unknown. It's so weird, but it's the truth. And the reason that that's hard is because we have not discovered, and you have not discovered, how to push your body and your mind to the max. Your mind has a governor on it. It is literally governed to keep you from using every little piece of mental acumen you got to keep you safe from getting hurt. It's trying to protect you. Some of us don't know how to take off the governor. And so we think the governor is our real self telling us that it's okay to do it. It's our self telling us, but it's not the real self. It's not the reality. And so we listen to it, and so we stop. If you educate your expectations, it doesn't matter what you apply X to, you will never quit. And I think it was Vernon that said recently, I loved it. He said, the key to happiness? Saying you're going to do something and doing it. That's happiness. You know how confident I feel? Listen, if I say I'm going to run a 30-mile marathon, guess what I know I'm going to do? I'm like, dang it. I just said I'm going to run a marathon. I know I'm going to do it. Oh, I know it's going to hurt already, but you know what? I know myself. If I say it will get done, it will get done. I may dread the challenge of getting it done in between, but it feels so good trusting yourself, believing in yourself to know that when you say you're going to do something, it's going to get done. And so guess what? Because of that control, you want that? I will get it done. I'm not saying it will be easy, but I will figure a way to get it done. Because why? Because the universe is abundant. The universe is growth. The only one keeping you from winning is you. Remember that governor? You winning may require getting that governor off. You may feel those feelings of anxiety. It's the governor stopping you. So your job, your homework, finding a way, like, I remember when I first got my first diesel truck. Diesel trucks are governed. I remember I couldn't do like 100 miles an hour. I was like, what's wrong with this truck? It can't go over that unless you remove a certain governor. Your job as a human, this is like, I'm telling you guys are in the matrix. I'm telling you right now, you're in the matrix. So the first job to get out of the matrix is to know that you're in the matrix. Your job as a human to realize you are in the matrix. Your mind is governed. So the daily job is to ungovern your mind so that you can do what you want to do. Because when you get to these edges of what you want to do, when you're feeling queasy about it, it isn't real. It's because of the governor. And that's why people quit. So that's it, guys. That's it for today. Appreciate everyone being on. Take care, take charge. We will see you guys next week. Bye for now.